SaaS Insiders, welcome to this episode of our show. Today I have a guest that you don't want to miss. Today I have a serial tech entrepreneur, and we're speaking about 20 years in the field of SaaS, of tech products, and he currently is actually building a product that will disrupt the video communication industry. He is the CEO and the founder of Meetn. He is one and only Rick Raddatz. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be here.
For those who might not know you yet, if you could give like a couple sentences of introduction of who Rick Raddatz is and what do you work on?
Sure. Well, back in the 80s, I was one of those computer whiz kids before computers were everywhere like they are today. And so I just taught myself how to program in the 5th grade on a TRS-80 Model 1 Level 2 16K microcomputer, as they were called back then. And fast forward a few years, I started my own software company in high school. I created small business software even then. I did an accounting package, I did inventory control, a bowling league manager. And what high school kid does accounts payable programs? It boggles my mind looking back at it. But that got me, my biggest product then was a $10,000 per installation machine shop cost estimating system. Now that was a lot of money back then, 1980 or 80s. So I got my start in small business software in high school. And then in college, I ended up applying for some internships. I got job offers from Microsoft and Apple, Intel, Cray, Hewlett-Packard, and IBM. And I picked Microsoft. And so I ended up working Microsoft, 3 internships and then 10 years full-time. And I kind of bounced around Microsoft. I kept wanting to do different things. So I was a developer, I was a development lead, I was a marketer, product designer, worked in Microsoft Research for a year or so. So I love getting lots of different experiences. And that really kind of set me up well for then becoming my own, serial entrepreneur. Because I had seen all these different aspects of the business done right at Microsoft. So in 2002, I got to work and launched in 2003 an audio and video hosting service for the web. Now, this is 2 years before YouTube was founded. Okay, so this is back in the days of dial-up modems. Okay, so tiny little postage stamp videos, but hey, video on your website. So I made millions off of those products, and that funded additional products I launched. I got into the opt-in page hosting business. Fill in the blanks, get your opt-in page. Before that was a thing, I launched a webinar company before webinars were a thing in 2007, and that was marrying a phone bridge with a web presence, like for slides and so on. So we'd do 30,000 person conference calls, and it was that business that funded 15 years of work I did in the nonprofit space. That's a whole nother story. And now I'm back on the for-profit side, launching a Zoom competitor called Meetn, and that's spelled MEET, like meat, and then the letter N is in Nancy. So for kind of fun, you can think of it as a redneck Zoom. Okay, you go to the Meetn. But Meetn.com, and yeah, so I chose that space because of the business dynamics of the meeting space. It's inherently viral. Business customers will pay decent money for the service. And now after COVID, everyone needs a video account. Even if we're not using it as much as we did at the peak of COVID, the world has changed. Before COVID, people were aware of video meetings, but it seemed like kind of an artificial luxury. Like, you're weird if you do video meetings as a primary mechanism. And then after COVID, it's the norm. Everyone's doing like a phone call is weird. A video meeting is the way to conduct a meeting nowadays. So I think we're well positioned. And what we've discovered is that even though, everyone's using Zoom, we're not finding that there's a lot of love for Zoom. People are happy to consider an alternative, and we're niching our product by being better at salesmanship. We have tools to help people sell, like pop up a little call to action pop up, or pop up a web page right in Meetn. And that's a whole lot better than putting a link in chat where it just scrolls away. So very simple features give us a reason why Meetn is better for anyone who's doing sales. And that's our thing right now is salesmanship. And we're penetrating the marketplace. So we're very happy with it. It's all going according to plan. Well, it's never going according to plan, but like the big plan, right, where we're going to hit these milestones and so on. We're hitting those milestones, and we're very happy with the overall progress. every little detail, good luck. That's just business. But yeah, that's my brief history.
And I want to really talk about Meetn and exactly why people need that, not Zoom, in just a couple minutes. I just wanted to point out first that when we're speaking about 30,000 web conference or video hosting or opt-in page, it might not sound like too exciting, like in today's realities, like with all those softwares, all those tools. But back when Rick done that, SaaS Insiders, it's been revolutionary basically, because it was before YouTube, before those technologies that today existed. So consider it as like being one of the first ones, if not the first one, to pilot those technologies.
Like the big money is usually not found by innovating a whole new category. Because you have to explain to people why they should care. It's a whole lot easier making your product 10% better than something else. And people know why they care. And yours is better, I'll move over to that. But and yet, because the internet was so early, really. I mean, it was so Wild West, that there was room for this kind of innovation. I mean, like Adobe Flash. It was the technology in the browser that made audio and video possible. But no one had turned that possibility into a SaaS product. To my knowledge, no one. No one. I was the guy who did that. And like I said, I made millions. Now, if I had focused on that business and treated it more like a venture firm and really developed it, maybe that'd be worth billions, okay, like a SoundCloud or a YouTube. But that's not me. Okay, at least it wasn't back then. Back then, I did something cool. It's profitable. What more do I need? And then my personal interest was on something else that was new. I love creating the next new thing. And I'm not recommending that. It's a hard way to make money, but that's just me. Now, I think I've kind of learned that lesson, though, because now that I'm 54 years old, I don't care anymore. I'm kind of reaching that point. I'm not there yet, but I can see the get off my lawn kind of phase of my life coming soon. Okay. And so when it comes to business, I don't care what's going to make money. Okay. I'm past all the need to be creative and inventive and all that kind of stuff. So what I'm doing now with Meetn, I'm not going to do another separate product. Okay. I'm just going to make Meetn better and better and better. We're going to take all the positive cash flow, put it right back into development and QA and support and UX design. And we just keep on improving this product, as long as they stay profitable and constantly improving, we're going to get market share.
I like how you describe this transition from like more a younger, passionate Rick that jumps from one idea to another to more like Rick that likes to focus, right? So if you were to go back in time, let's say, and meet for 5 seconds, like to meet Rick from back then, like what kind of the biggest advice you could give him to make him even more successful, like to basically get
but here's the thing, okay? I'm just responding to your question here, but your question set up a time travel kind of scenario.
Yeah.
And the thing is, so many good things have happened to me after that time. I wouldn't want to lose some of those things at all. Okay. The easy examples are, a wife and kids, but my nonprofit work, I would not change that for anything. Okay. So what would I tell? I would decline the opportunity to go back in time because I wouldn't want to screw up what had come to pass. Now, if you're talking just about making money, then I'd go back in time, slap my younger self in the face a few times and say, you got this diversification thing all wrong. Okay. If you're investing in someone else's business, you want to be diversified because who knows what the heck they're doing with your money. Okay. But if you're investing in your own business, you don't want to be diversified. You want to focus like a laser on growing that business, period. And so that would be the advice I would give my younger self, just for business.
Nice. The way you sound is like a really happy man with the life that you went through. Like basically what you said is there were so many good memories, so many good experiences that you wouldn't just.
No, I'm incredibly pissed off by that. I'm incredibly pissed off that I can't complain now. Like so many good things have happened that I can't complain now. It pisses me off. Like all these mistakes I'd like to change, whatever in the past, I can't imagine changing them now, and that sucks psychologically. I hate that. Yeah. So I'm being a little funny, but really, whenever something really good happens to you, the entire everything that happened before, you have to accept and forgive and and incorporate and move on.
How did Rick change in the way he conducts business? Because probably the strategies, your role in the company, it was like 20 years ago and now probably changed dramatically. Like,
Well, 20 years ago, I wanted to own 100%, and I did. So I had complete freedom. I didn't have anyone I had to answer to. I just did whatever I wanted to do. And that, like I said, I wouldn't go back and change it because of what else has happened. But if I wanted to make the most money, I would totally give up on that philosophy, and I have. With Meetn, I used my personal finances to get it going, but then I took on an angel partner, and then a second one, and then we also have this strategic deal with this other company, kind of a VC firm that is accelerating things even faster with a kind of a sweat equity deal with them. So I'm very happy now to sell pieces of my business in order to accelerate. Okay, so I finally learned the acceleration concept. Took me a while. See, even with all this history of innovation and whatnot, I don't think of myself as some sort of weird genius. I've met people who are geniuses, okay, in my travels, and they're always so disconnected from reality. They live in their own little world, and I think they suffer for it. And I'm not that smart. What I am is persistent, and I know how to execute. I get stuff done, and I know how to delegate. I mean, I'm delegating everything. I was speaking at an event with like 400 people, 400 business owners, and David Allen, I think his name was David Allen, the guy who wrote that book. It was like getting things done, I think was the title of the book. So a pretty famous author, and I spoke right after him, and he bragged at how good he is at delegating. He's like the world's best delegator, and he challenges anyone to show that they delegate better than him. Well, then I went up on stage and I said, look, I haven't planned this, but David laid down a challenge. Someone could show that they're a better delegator than David. I told the story of how my wife complained one night of my underwear being strewn around the bedroom. And this is 11 o'clock at night. And this is before the internet really had matured. And, there wasn't like a Craigslist then. This is before Craigslist. And so I picked up my phone at 11 o'clock at night and called my assistant at work, where she wouldn't answer because it's just, it's not working hours for her. And I left her a voicemail. I said, hey, Carol, please put an ad in the local paper for a household assistant, work a couple hours a day, cleaning up things around the house. I didn't say what things, but cleaning up things around the house, maybe doing some errands, and maybe cooking a meal. And please interview the candidates you like and send the top three, just the top three, to my wife for her to pick. And I hung up the phone and I hopped in bed. And the look on my wife's face was hilarious because she didn't know whether to be really happy with me or really angry at me for still not picking up my underwear. And so the point of the story was, and this is the story I told to the audience of 400, is that I even delegated picking up my underwear in this way. And we've had a household assistant ever since. So the audience agreed that I won the delegation competition against David Allen. So that was kind of fun.
Now, when it comes to delegation, right, the goal is to get rid of the tasks or things that we don't want to do. They were not in our zone of genius, but I still think like you're not delegating like brushing your teeth or something, right? Unless you would be if there was a scenario for it. But
I haven't done that yet, but okay, yeah.
What are the things that you enjoy doing that you wouldn't delegate them because you love to do them? It comes to business, it comes like to personal life.
That would be my political philosophy work, my nonprofit work, okay, which has nothing to do with the business. But there is nothing I don't want to do anything. I want to delegate everything. And that's how I did my nonprofit work for 16 years, is I didn't actually sell my businesses. I just cash flowed them and put other people in charge. And and actually my income quadrupled during that time because other people ran the business better than I did. And so I focused on my nonprofit work. So the answer to your question is there isn't anything I would want to do and not delegate. Now, the things that I tend to do better than other people are like the strategy, like there's all these Legos to play with, all these different things. There's people and other companies and products and messaging and all that kind of stuff. There's all these little pieces to play with. And I'm really good at figuring out, okay, if we do this, this, and this, it'll produce that result, and it honors my cash flow and everything else going on. So I put everything in the context and figure out, the best path, the optimal path through the maze. It's not that I would want to do that. It's just that that's what I'm like really good at. And there's other people who are good at that too and better than me at it. I'm not saying that, but like I have one partner now in Meetn who is as good as me at that. Okay. And that's great because, even as good as I am at it and as confident as I am with it, I can improve I mean, like I have an idea, and then the other guy will say, well, what about this? I'm like, oh yeah, obviously that's awesome. Thank you. Why didn't I think of that? So that's one other thing I like about having partners, especially the right caliber partners, is that, the pressure's not on me. We're a team, and we can get more stuff done and get it done better than I could when I owned 100%.
To that point, I think like it's much better to own 1% of Facebook than 100% of like a small tiny business, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much more.
When you own 100%, it's hard to accept that, because the difference between owning 100% and 99% is monstrous. Well, at least if you have like an ethical core, if you feel like responsibility to your partners, then it matters. So I didn't want to sell anything because I wanted the freedom to do what I wanted to do. It was probably in part psychologically because I had been an employee at Microsoft and I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I mean, I pitched some pretty cool ideas to Bill Gates and other leaders in the company, and they always said no. And so then I went out on my own, and I got to say yes. I never got a no again. I mean, the marketplace might say no, but they tended to say yes. Anyway, it's always a learning experience, and so I view myself as more persistent than genius, especially when I set a big strategic goal for myself. I just don't give up. That's the main thing that I bring. It's kind of like that movie Apollo 13, where like everything's going wrong, and as badly as it can go wrong without it actually blowing up. It's going. It's like, okay, now we got to fix the carbon problem. And somehow they do it. And it's that moment in the movie where they jettison, what was it, the capsule? They jettison the other ship, and then they're going to land in the other part of the ship. I forget which module is what or whatever. But the point is that they let go of the thing that has saved their life. They sent it off into space. And they had used, like an Indian eating a buffalo, they had used every little piece of that ship to survive. And they did it. And now they're on a new ship for their final approach. And it's that moment in time that's what running a business like this, competing against Zoom, that's what it feels like. It's like I used every little asset I could every step of the way to get through this. And now here we are, and we're getting customers, we're growing, we're winning against Zoom with enterprise customers. I can't believe it. Okay, I mean, it's a certain niche that we're in, but we're like they're already using Zoom, and they agree our product's better, and they're switching, and at scale. So like I'm like, wow, okay, we've accomplished something here.
Nice. I think one lesson as well that you brought with this movie episode is when you mentioned they gave up something that kept them alive till now so that they go and fix something bigger. So it's almost like when you have this mentality of 100% ownership, it's exactly what got you to that point, exactly what you're successful, but exactly the same that keeps you from growing further, because now you've exceeded, like you're the bottleneck basically.
Yeah, and that's why that one moment, for me, it was emotional. I don't know if it was emotional for everybody else, but for me, letting go of the ship was an emotional moment for me, because that was there was some bonding there. That was a thing.
Now there are some other people I need to share this with, right? What if I don't agree with them? Like, what's happening, right?
Other people I need to share what with? I'm
well, basically like the ship, right? When you introduce new partners, it's basically like, now I need to kind of share this opinion with them, right? Instead of having the
and I named all my partners co-founders, because even though I was there first, with the spec and the initial development and whatnot, it could not have launched without them. And I'm defining the launch as the founding, not something earlier. So they're all co-founders. Yeah, you're right. So you got to share it. You got to share the title. You got to share the experience. You got to share the rewards. You got to share everything. And yet there's more for you too.
What you said is it's absolutely amazing that enterprise customers now switching. They're using Zoom and they're switching. If you could explain to SaaS insiders in just a couple sentences why that is a big thing. Like, because not everyone's an enterprise. So for them, like switching small products is not a big deal.
Well, if you have enterprise customers, your valuation is better because the multiples are bigger. It's the one reason, but also the sale is harder. And so it's an achievement. we did something. To be fair, we're only in one little niche of enterprise, and it's only in that one niche where we really have the compelling. It's like this niche needs us because it's all about sales. And Meetn offers tools again to help you sell better than Zoom does and other competitors do. So it's not like all of enterprise that we can, because we can't take on Zoom across all of enterprise. There's too many integrations on the Zoom side. There's too much legacy. There's too much risk to a switch. I mean, there's all these reasons not to switch. But so I would say to any other SaaS CEO, and they already know this, the riches are in the niches. It's all about picking the right niche for what you've got going on, whatever that, and in context of the whole marketplace, all the competition and so on. And so I think we did a really good job of picking, strategic niches for us. We're focusing on, primarily, we're focusing on small business owners and below. Okay, so small business owners, independent professionals, MLMers, business opportunity seekers, all of them are doing video meetings. All of them live and die on sales. And we've got the sales story, so we can win that argument. We can win that sale, and then that also opens up the affiliate channel, all the gurus, influencers, and coaches, consultants, experts. So that's a great way into that whole marketplace, and then we can grow from there. So we're going to be cash flow positive in a few months, it looks like, and then we'll probably do another round of funding. Just to accelerate things further, because I've learned there's an advantage to burning cash. You want to be in the burn, because if you're not in the burn, you're not accelerating as much as you could. And so the valuation jumps up because we've shown that we can execute and win sales and big sales. And I'll be selling less of the company for more money, with more money total coming in, allowing me to really beef up all the things we're doing. And at some point, with enough penetration and so on, it will be time to do a second parallel strategic follow-on product. But so I'm not against that idea, but it'll be when it's strategic to do it, not because out of a fear of losing my company, I try to diversify early. So all the difference in the world between those two different scenarios.
Now, I know there is one thing that you want to make really different from competitors, including Zoom, and that's an affiliate offer. I know that you are planning to push a pretty good, I would say. I would say it's almost too good to be true. It sounds like an affiliate program. Could you elaborate a little bit more on this? Like, what is exactly?
Well, the reason it sounds too good to be true for you is because you got in early, and so you're getting a deal that almost no one else is going to get. But since we're doing this here, I'll announce that so that people, if they hear this early enough, they can get in on it too. The deal that is talking about is, as kind of a launch promotion, we're giving our initial affiliates 50% affiliate commission. Now that's recurring for as long as the referrals stay on as customers. And once in the program, you get that 50% commission even for sales you make far in the future. So you're locked in, you're grandfathered in at that 50% commission rate. Now, why are we doing that? Well, we're doing that because we have 93% profit margins, so we can handle it financially. And that's money on the come. That's money after we've already made the sale. Thank you very much, affiliate. And so there's no marketing cost to us. It's a negative cost per acquisition for the customer, essentially, except for our opportunity costs. So it's an easy program to do. It makes sense financially, and it's a way of penetrating our core target marketplace. And so there's like all positives, no negatives. And there are companies like I'll mention one, partnerstack.com, that their whole business is running SaaS affiliate programs. And so they have like 18 developers constantly improving the affiliate center, okay, for an affiliate. Well, I would have had one developer on it, okay. Plus, it would have taken a fraction of my time to spec all those features and whatnot, and solve all the payment processing issues and payment delivery issues and so on. And I don't want to deal with all that. So partnering with a company like PartnerStack allows me to, and we haven't done it yet, but we're moving that direction. That allows me to accelerate and not even worry about all of that kind of stuff. So I forget what your original question was, but we ended up there.
It was about the affiliate program.
I promised people listening could have access to this cool 50% affiliate program if they get in early enough. So as of this recording, the website's not up there, or the landing page is not up there. But by the time you're hearing this, there'll be a page at Meetn.com/Meetn3000. Okay, and that's because we're going to give the first 3,000 affiliates who sign up access to the 50% affiliate commission. Now, there is a cost. They're buying into our highest level product at just $49 a month or $49.95. But that's because we want people who are committed. We're not just giving it away to 3,000 people. It's 3,000 people who sign up and they lose their commissions if they unsubscribe. That locks in our revenue. It gets us cash flow positive ×3. So it establishes the company. It's a super simple promotion, and we're building a community around it. So you're going to be in the Telegram group with other affiliates, and we're all going to help each other succeed. And so it's a program that it makes sense whether you're a big or small affiliate. And we have our list. We already have relationships with all the big affiliates that we care to. And so those big names are already part of the program. But this is a way of launching out to the to our own house list, converting our house list into customers and affiliates at the same time, and then growing the business. So I'd recommend this model for any SaaS company starting out. Pick a number, give that many people, affiliates, a big honking affiliate commission if they commit to paying for your service essentially forever, as long as they want their commissions. It's a self-reinforcing, successful model, and that model was it was developed not by me alone, but by our core team, but by our leadership, and everyone contributed an idea or two to make that whole thing work, and I'm really optimistic about it.
Now, if there was only one biggest thing about Meetn so good that it would force all of the small business owners and below to change, because I know some people feel like I've been going through Zoom for the past 3 years, what it possibly can give me to change?
Well, let's say you're trying to sell something
all the time.
Well, the answer is sales. I mentioned it before, but the answer is sales. We're better at sales. That's the one thing. But how are we better at sales? Well, let's say you wanted to sell something. What do you do in Zoom? You paste the link that you're promoting into chat, and it scrolls away. Okay. Well, that's no good. First of all, it's probably an ugly link, because you're probably trying to give some affiliate the right commission, and so it's probably some ugly affiliate link or whatever. Maybe you're the affiliate, or who knows. And so it's the wrong way to do it. It's just wrong, but that's how you got to do it in Zoom. And so what Meetn offers you is several things. We have a call to action pop-up. You fill in the blanks, like a headline, subheadline, logo, colors, a button caption, and button target, and you create your own little pop-up. Really simple. You fill in the blanks, but that little pop-up is so much better than a link in chat, and then especially because it's unavoidable. Whereas in chat, you can miss it, and you can take it away. And that sets up a fear of loss close on that pop-up. You say, now I'm going to remove this pop-up in about 10 seconds. So if you're at all curious about this offer, make sure you click on the button now. Click, 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 right? Okay. What a great little pitch. And that pitch is general. It can work for any product or service, any link, at any time. Okay, that's the kind of thing that you can do with Meetn you can't do with Zoom. But we also have the web page poppers. You can pop up your order page in Meetn. They don't have to go someplace else. We have what's called the button bar. So, because sometimes you don't want links to be too dramatic, you just want them as an available resource. So the button bar is a little toolbar that you can pop up with your buttons, whatever you want them to do. And then we, right now we have a report a problem button, because we're fairly new and we want to make sure that we capture all of the problems from everybody. But we're going to let people change that to be a top of the line, right there in the top toolbar, there's a button that's your button. You can have that be whatever you want it to be, evergreen. It's not in the way of the meeting. That's a great piece of real estate for a promotion. So that's your custom toolbar button. We're going to be adding that feature this week. When you exit a meeting, okay, on every other meeting platform, what do you get sold on when you exit a meeting? You get sold on that meeting platform. Of course you do. Well, and we do the same thing, but we let you override that. So you can have your own landing page be the exit page. I mean, because we're Avis, we try harder, right? So we're going to give that very important real estate to you, and it's your last chance to close that sale. You tried everything you could do during the meeting. Maybe you did it, maybe you didn't. But then they leave and they get the right page, the right headline. You know the context. You can write the right headline to fit the context. That's going to help you with the sale. So the biggest one-click video sharing. With Zoom, if you want to play a video, you have to share your screen.
Yep.
And you got to make sure you check the box that says optimize for video and share system audio. Otherwise, it's all screwed up. And then you have to switch over to a Chrome tab and play a YouTube video or whatever. And what happens when you play a YouTube video before the video plays? Sometimes an advertisement plays. And it's usually related to your content, but not your content. So what ad are you playing? Your competitor's ad. That could be really embarrassing. And then you got to maximize it so that you're sharing your full video, sharing the full video for everyone. But then you can't do anything else. You can't catch up on chat. You can't check your sales. You can't, have a little chat with your co-hosts. You're stuck there watching the video. And the video quality is questionable because it depends on your Wi-Fi connection and your internet connection and the horsepower of your machine. And maybe your machine's okay, but maybe one of your affiliates isn't. They're just trying, they're struggling. They got an older machine. That's no good. And so with Meetn, you upload the video ahead of time and you click it. That's it. And it starts playing into the Meetn room. And the same thing for audios and also for slide decks. So, or files you want to share. So very, very simple with Meetn. Now here's a really cool feature no one else has, okay? Let's say, and this is absolutely appropriate for any SaaS company that has an affiliate program or just salespeople. So let's say you're going to do a big event. You got some big name person on board to co-host a webinar. So it's kind of a draw, right? And you want all of your affiliates to promote that one event. But then here's the thing. When you pop up the call to action pop-up, you want the link to be different for every affiliate, right?
Oh.
Okay. Well, this isn't done yet. We're doing it this month, but it's all spec'd out. What it's going to allow people to do is affiliates will be able to be invited to an event, and they'll be able to create their own invite link to that event that customizes any pop-ups. It customizes any links promoted, including links in all the pop-ups I mentioned, the exit pop-up, and even links put in chat. All of those get customized with simple string substitution. That's all it is. So it's really simple, but no one else is thinking about this scenario because they're not focused on sales. We are. And so any SaaS CEO that runs an affiliate program, you want to use Meetn and you want all of your affiliates to use Meetn so that when they promote your thing, they know that their link is being promoted on the pop-up. Oh, we even have interactive replays. Okay, so the replays, when a pop-up happens in the replay, that's live. They can fill out the form, they can click on the button. So it's not just a static video, or it's a dynamic sales mechanism. So the one answer to your question was sales. But you can see we've really thought through all the different sales scenarios.
It really sounds to me like you allow them to control the whole sales cycle that's happening on the show, including the replay. Even after the live event, they can still go to this.
Our job is to be invisible. I mean, we don't always achieve that because nothing's perfect, but our job is to be the invisible facilitator to this meeting between people. If, and in particular, in a sales meeting, we're there to help you get the sale, but it's your content, your links, your affiliates, your promotion, your branding, your colors, all that kind of stuff.
And how much of that I could do myself as a non-tech, for example, person, or do I need some developers to customize it for me to
oh, no. All of this is just fill in the blanks and you hit go. Like if you can upload a video, then you can have the video ready for one click. The multi-affiliate promotion call or event, that is a little bit more techy in terms of you have to understand how link substitution or string substitution works. But we'll help you with that. And once you do it the first time, then you got it and you can do that again.
Well, I don't know about you, SaaS Insiders, but I'm sold on this.
Okay.
Definitely sold on this. We need more landing pages to describe all of those beautiful features, because I personally know a lot of people that would switch.
Well, sales is where the money is for any company, and so that's why we focused on it. In part because the guys weren't doing it, and a lot of these features, we didn't have these features in mind when we launched the product, but we knew that if we kept our focus on sales, we would come up with these things. Just a piece of advice for any SaaS company CEO is this kind of focus. Pick your niche and then just live in that niche. Really develop it, because that's where the real value comes in.
So I think you're speaking like, make sure we prioritize what users really need. Like, what would we need in their place to have this, right?
Well, when I was at Microsoft doing product design, we had kind of a rule. I mean, I was just told this rule, so I didn't come up with it. But I've used this rule in all of my business dealings or product designs. The rule was, we want some killer features for our customers to love, and we want some killer features for the press to love. And they're not always the same feature, okay? Because there are features, especially at Microsoft. Microsoft is so big and so strategic, and all these cross-pollinations, that kind of stuff. Like Office is so huge. Anything to support Office was important. We wanted some features that the press would just go nuts about, even if they weren't really going to be all that useful for the customers, because it's more of a tech demo. It's like going to the car show and you're seeing the concept car, right? That's for the press. That's not for the customers. Okay. So some of our features would be these concept car kind of features that just people could just envision the future and love it. And then, but we also had to have some killer features for the customers themselves. And so I think what you're seeing with this salesmanship is, well, they're kind of overlapped in this case because the customers need to make sales, and it's also a sexy thing to talk about. And so it works. But my point is, even if it doesn't overlap, you still want sexy features just for the investors, just for the press, just for the affiliates to be inspired by. And then you want to also be the tool that actually makes sense for the customers. It actually is a better experience or whatever they need it to be.
So it's almost like sell them what they want, give them what they need, basically.
You're doing both. It's not an either or kind of thing.
Yeah.
You need to do both, because if you focus on just what they need, I've launched businesses where it was exactly what people needed and it sold nothing. In fact, it was that same conference I spoke at with David Allen. There were 400 buying units in the room, and I sold all 400. I mean, everyone bought my product because I sold it so well. And then not one person, not one company who bought it actually ended up using it, because it required a change in their like internal operations a little bit in terms of how they sell. And I hadn't built the kind of the onboarding infrastructure to handhold people and get them across that finish line. And by the time I realized that was an absolute miss on my part, I was already on to the next product, which ended up being $10, $20 million win for me. So I didn't mind losing that product. And that product was kind of a low effort strategic twist on a previous product anyway. So it wasn't like a big investment. So I didn't feel any loss. But yeah, no, I've had products where it had all the sex appeal you can imagine, and everyone bought, and then no one used it. And I've had other products where I had none of the sizzle, but boy, did people need it. And that was even worse because no one bought it and therefore no one used it. It's total failure. So I've had my failures, but hopefully I learned from them.
So when it's something super sexy and people buy it and then don't use it, because it happens quite often, not like the only you, right? Do you think it's the problem specifically with like onboarding people after they bought?
Well, in my case, it was onboarding. I mean, it could be anything else for anybody else, but I think onboarding is probably a pretty common place to fail, because the business owner and those involved in leadership, they're so familiar with the product by the time it launches that they're literally or not literally, figuratively blind. They don't have the empathy of a new customer coming on board, so they don't even know what the new customer is missing. So I was lucky enough to be part of one of the first usability tests at Microsoft. I know because there was no usability department at Microsoft to guide us, and we were just making shit up. Okay, like we had a camera on a tripod behind a big room divider, which is scary as hell. I mean, like one of the rules of usability testing is you don't scare the heck out of the people like, oh, Big Brother is watching me. So like we were making all these mistakes, but we were the first ones to do it at Microsoft. Okay, that was for Microsoft Quick Basic version like 2 or 3 or something like that, or Professional maybe. I think, what were we talking about?
We're talking about user onboarding, but now I think I'm not the only one
onboarding.
excited about the camera.
Well, yeah. So, that was an example of user onboarding. We don't have the empathy. We don't know what customers are really thinking or not thinking or feeling or getting or not getting. We don't know. So you've got to do those usability tests better than I just described in Microsoft in that would have been 1989, I think. So we got to do better than that. But most people don't do it at all. And all you got to do is, and cameras are so small these days, it doesn't have to be, an in-your-face kind of thing. You can still have the cameras in the room. But sit the person down in front of a PC or Mac or whatever, ask them to go to the website and try signing up. Or having just signed up, ask them to log in and create your first whatever. Give them simple tasks like that and watch how these people struggle with your design that you were so proud of. Okay, it's very humbling. But so I'm a big proponent of that kind of testing, because you just don't know. You're too close to it. You're blind to it. And it's a kind of blindness where you can't tell that you're blind. Like an actual blind person knows that they're blind. One reason they know they're blind is because so many other people in society aren't blind that they know something's up. Okay. But in this case, everyone in leadership is blind. And even the people you're selling, you're helping explain the whole context to them and why they should care. And so they have the right motivation that another customer who just got sold via the web copy, they don't have all that motivation. They're going to get stuck and bow out sooner than you think. It's a kind of blindness where you're meta blind. You don't even know that you're blind. And so that's the kind of problem that tends to get you.
Now, I know there are a lot of tools right now that allow you streamline this process, almost like a heat maps on your website where you can actually
Yeah,
see where the
no,
month.
there's all kinds of tools that will even do it live on your website. I don't know the names off the top of my head, but I've seen some of them. I like the more. I mean, I'm sure there's advantages to the quantitative approach, but I also like the qualitative approach where I'm seeing Fred struggle. Okay, because then I'm feeling Fred. I get I just get it more. You probably need to do both. Although I mainly have done the human part of it.
Now, when it comes to like humans and always thinking about your customers, I know HubSpot has this trick where on meetings, when they make some decisions, they also have like a teddy bear that they call Tiffany, I guess, and that's
Uh-huh.
their customer avatar. So
Yeah.
when they struggle with a decision, they say like, but what would Tiffany say? And they start thinking about customers when they make some decisions on the
Yeah,
user
yeah.
experience.
Yeah, it's a little gimmick, but it's a gimmick designed to address exactly what I'm talking about, which is user empathy. I've hired a lot of UX designers over the years, and a lot of them are, they're book educated. They've taken the Google class or whatever. They know all the Legos. They know all the tools to pick from. But I'll tell you the mistake they keep making. They design to pass their boss's test. They design to pass the committee's test. They don't design to solve the problem as completely as possible for the customer. It's like they employed tool number 35B, they move on to their next piece. And so like I think the difference is really the difference between like Microsoft and Apple in terms of OS design and that kind of thing. Apple was always ahead of Microsoft, at least in my day, in terms of the overall experience, and it was more like art, because they didn't always have all the same features, but what they had, it was elegant, it was beautiful, and yet functional, and it did what you needed it to do. Like even iOS versus Android. Android, I think, has caught up quite a bit in the last year or two, but Apple, the ecosystem of Apple and iOS is just that much more polished. The layout of things, the fonts, the font sizes, how it looks when you increase your font size too much and you start pushing the boundaries of readability. Apple handles that better than Android does. I mean, so there's all these little details and all these side cases where Apple has clearly thought through all of this. And Android, because of the way it was developed, kind of more like a Microsoft fashion, I think it's more of a third party kind of like a lot of third parties are involved in the various UI decisions for the various apps and whatnot. That it ends up it's just not as good, at least in my opinion. So I think that's the big problem with UX design is that people don't set the bar high enough. And you know how they say good writing is rewriting?
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard that expression? Okay, it's a legendary quote in the writing business. Okay, good writing is rewriting. Well, that little pattern applies to almost everything in life. Good thinking is rethinking. Good design is redesign. So pick any verb, and constant improvement comes from creative destruction, destroying your past design to make room for a new, better design. I mean, this is capitalism. It's capitalism doesn't produce amazing things because anyone knows the right answer ahead of time. No one in 2006 knew how to design the phone the right way. And yet now we got a phone design in 2007 with the iPhone that's remarkably stable. It's basically no keyboard, all screen, maybe a button, maybe not. We've had that design now for 14 years? Mm-hmm. Is my math right? In the technology world, that's an amazing time frame to have a design not be improved upon. It wasn't actually Apple that designed the iPhone. Did you know that?
No.
Well, in one sense, it was here in America, it was our founding fathers, because they put in place the incentives and locked in for property rights and so on. They locked in the economic incentives for constant improvement. And it was constant improvement that constantly improved things until not only was the technology ready for the iPhone, but also the need for that device was there and the wealth to afford to buy it. All of it had to be in place, meaning all kinds of things had to be constantly improved. Otherwise, the iPhone could not have been economically invented. It wouldn't have made any sense. So I'm going to give credit to our founding fathers and the philosophers who inspired them and the momentum of the time. Okay, that's what invented the iPhone a couple hundred years later. So good design is redesign, and I don't see enough redesign. in like for example, I'll give you a really tactical example. One of the things we have to do is help our customers paste their static room link into all the different calendar programs in the world, right?
Yep.
Because you book a meeting with me on my calendar program, you're going to get an email that says, hey, meet here, right? Well, where do you paste that link? It's different for every calendar scheduling app that's out there, right? And so I have my UX designer going out and screenshotting all the final screens and documenting the steps it takes once you log in to go find that screen. And she's reporting back to me that it's just a mess. All of these apps, like she thought this project was like busy work, like it didn't really need her to do it. But no, it needs someone like her just to find the darn setting to get through all of this stuff. And this is her profession. So it's just a little case study just to show you how bad design is. And that's a very important part of setting up a scheduling app is I'm using this software. Where do I put in the link? And it's not easy to find. It's not obvious. There's too many settings competing for attention, too little organization, and not the right guide flow even in the beginning on the onboarding.
Now, when you say there is a problem, right, as you explained, designers take those like Google courses, they have all the Lego pieces, then they produce the design, then the leadership approves it, and it just the cycle of.
Well, the leadership doesn't know. They're just like, well, it doesn't look stupid. Pass. I mean, it's especially if there's a committee. Oh my goodness, because everyone has other goals. Well, I once told my boss at Microsoft, this is going back a little ways. Yeah, he was telling me all the things to think about in the design of this one thing, and I was like, who was it? I think it was Len Ortiz, or it may have been Tom Button. And I said, Tom, I'd love to learn all of that, but I have to have the spec done tomorrow, so I'm just going to ignore you. And I left the office. And he later told me that was like, in his mind, that was the defining characteristic of a program manager, designer who's going to get stuff done. Now it may not have been the best design, I admit, but like I was thinking of the overall goals of the project and everything else that had to be done and the timeline, all that kind of stuff. And what I'm saying is, so I'm guilty of this myself back then, but now the way I can win against Zoom is by taking the time to be involved and actually frickin' do it right, so that every little piece of Meetn is just a nicer experience than Zoom. We want to be the Apple to Zoom. I'm mixing my metaphors, but you know what I mean.
Yes. And what it requires is to constantly get back to those things and think how we can improve them. Everything you do.
Constant improvement. It's not about the first design at all. The first design gets you in the ballpark. But then it's talking to your customers, doing the usability tests, seeing how it works, maximizing your empathy, doing little tricks like the HubSpot thing with the bear. I love that. Meetn's going to have a moose mascot, so maybe we'll have Marvin the moose sitting there. Yeah. So but good design is redesign is the main takeaway.
Rick, I know we can chat with you here for hours. Before we be wrapping up this conversation, what is the best way to get in touch with you to learn more about Meetn and join the forces?
Since I mentioned the calendar, I'll just mention my calendar, rickscalendar.com. By the way, that's another little tip for you. Get your own name blank.com. So you have a calendar, rickscalendar.com. It's so easy to remember. It's much better than calendly.com/whatever string of numbers. There's no way to convey that in a setting.
And I mean,
rickscalendar.com, you got a chance.
It can be a calendar link, right? The calendar link, but it's just masked under your own domain just to make it simple.
Yeah. All it is a GoDaddy domain that's redirected to my. I think I'm using Once Hub, but whatever. Yeah, it's just a redirection. It's a forwarding. It's very simple technically. But the point is, brand wise, anyone who's listening now knows if they want to reach out to me, go to rickscalendar.com. And then of course Meetn is at meetn.com, MEET, and then the letter N is in Nancy, meetn.com. And our special deal to lock in 50% affiliate commission forever is at meetn.com/Meetn3000.
Outstanding. What would be the last thought that you wanted to SaaS insiders to hear? If they were to take away one thing out of our conversation, the most important thing, what that would be?
The most important thing to them?
Yes.
I think the most important thing is that good design is redesign, because that's so meta. It addresses every problem in business. No matter what you're trying to do, redo it. So I think that's the most important lesson.
Rick Raddatz, everyone. Rick, I thank you for coming to our show today.
Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun, and I appreciate it.
SaaS Insiders, I'll see you on the other episodes. Thank you.